Alrighty, friends, I think we've got everything good to go, at least as far as I can tell on my end. If folks can let me know on the live chat if they can see and hear me okay, that would be wonderful. Hope everyone's doing well in whatever part of the globe you are at right now. I think we've got, people coming in, jumping on. J. Scott McLean, trigger finger, well done, thank you. Yeah, so it sounds like everyone can see and hear me okay. Hopefully we'll be able to get Johan on here in a bit, so that'll be nice. I'll explain my appearance right off the bat, just full disclosure before we get going. I had a little, like a small cyst removed from my forehead, so there's stitches there, and then the blood kind of pooled down, and now I have black eyes, so it looks like I've been in some sort of barroom brawl or just had some sort of miscue, but I'm doing fine, just don't look great. So I'll make myself really small. That will probably be better for everyone. Yeah, thanks for everyone for jumping on. We'll do a couple shout outs here while we're waiting for the top of the hour. We've got Michelle in rainy St. Louis. We've got Michael in muggy Bethany, Oklahoma. And Bex from Oak Island, North Carolina. Excellent. Marion in Salt Lake City's here. Good to see you. Sharon from New York. How you doing, Sharon? Ruth from Finland. Awesome. Johnson from Sweden. Let's see. Erica from Sweden. Excellent. Yeah, good stuff. Thanks so much for being here. So yeah, the plan, as you can kind of see with the outline there, is Johan's setting up as we speak. We may start a bit without him. We'll start at the top of the hour no matter what. If he's ready to go, great. Otherwise, I've got some stuff I can do with announcements and stuff as a filler. And then once he's ready, we'll switch right over to him and the good folks at NatureEye do the drone flight. Then we'll do an update on some of the things that have been going on in Iceland over the past couple weeks, and then your questions and answers. Best I can tackle those, I will try to. Awesome. Other folks jumping on. Skagit Ed is here. I was lucky enough to meet some of you folks with that event I had with Nick in Central Idaho at the end of last month. Alan from the UK, Kent from Norway, Laura from Chile, Valparaiso, Edda from the Netherlands, Canting Globe from Southwest Ontario. Dirk is in the Netherlands. Jeannie is in New Zealand. Greetings. Wolfgang from Germany, where it's 11 p.m. Thanks for staying up late if you're over there in parts of Europe. Light jet pilot in Georgia, here in the U.S. Ivana from Serbia. Paul from sunny Tacoma. Les Gold from Cape Canaveral, Florida. Susan Parker, Colorado. Agata's in Poland. Marie, Canada. Claire, Scotland. Andrew, Bear Creek, Wisconsin. All sorts of good folks here. Ed from Rhodes, Greece. Excellent. Karen, California. KDB, New Zealand. Jeffrey from the boring Netherlands. Come on now, it can't be that boring. Soren from Denmark. Is J-Zar from Seattle. Excellent. Well, glad to hear everyone's doing well. I missed a bunch of names there, but I apologize. But it's the top of the hour, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Greetings and thank you one and all. I'm Geology Professor Shawn Willsey. This is our live stream event for Tuesday, July 15th. Wonderful to have you all here. We have Amanda, Joe, and Susan as our moderators in the live chat. You can follow their prompts in terms of how we submit questions here. I'll circle back to those at the end of the live stream broadcast. If you're watching this on replay, you can obviously skip around a bit, but if you're here live, thanks for making time for us today. We appreciate it. The outline is kind of shown here. We're going to do a drone flight. We might change the order a little bit because Johan is setting up. We have a new location, and maybe I'll show you that location here. We've traditionally taken off from either south of the flow field near Grindavik or west of the flow field near the road that goes down to the Blue Lagoon. But today we're actually going to be flying from a location east of the flow field. So we'll be flying to the west towards the flow field. Just look at the topography, look at that landscape. It's always interesting because, as we all know, the eruptions that have been going on for the last year and a half or so change that landscape and change the topography. And so, you know, these live streams are fun because it's almost like a little documentation of what that landscape looks like at that moment in time, and with each subsequent eruption that landscape changes a little bit. So thanks again for joining me. Let's see. And so I won't be able to watch the live chat as much, especially once we get flying and stuff, but I'll circle back to that at the end, and Amanda, Joe, and Susan will keep me informed of what they need to know moving forward. Looks like Johan is ready to go. Let me send him a quick message. So we'll start with our drone flight with Johan first. So let's go ahead and pull that up. Here we go. And again, this flight is all courtesy of our good friends at NatureEye. So we encourage you to use them for...
Hello.
Hello, how are you? Let's make sure everyone can hear Johan. Go ahead and say something else there, sir.
Hello, Shawn. Can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me, Johan? I can hear you. Let's see here.
Hello, Shawn.
Can you hear me now?
Houston, Earth calling, Shawn Willsey.
Oh, it's blocked. Let's see.
You can hear me?
How about now? Can you hear
Hello.
me now? Can you hear me?
Hello there.
Johan, let's see.
Hello there, Shawn.
Click the icon, browser's address bar to turn on permission. I need help.
Come on.
Oh, that's not going to work. Let's see.
Shawn, enable your mic. The mic icon.
Let's see. Do we want this one on? Can you hear me now? No.
I'll connect on the laptop. Or Michelle, you can maybe wait.
Let's see. Well, this should be working.
Yes. Enable the mic icon, top left corner. Hello, Shawn.
Can you hear me now?
Come on.
Top left corner. Oh, there we go. How about now? How about now?
There you are. I can hear you.
It's actually me. It's Michelle. Hey, Shawn, you just need to click the little microphone icon right there. Say allow this time or allow while visiting the site. And you'll be able to.
I think I got it, didn't I? Let's see. Microphone.
Or maybe he...
I think I got it. Can you hear me?
Also has...
There we go. That's
right.
Can you hear me okay, Michelle?
Hello, Shawn.
Yep. Can you guys hear me all right? The audience can hear us both, but you guys can't. Let's try again. How about now? Can you hear me now?
How about now? How about now? You see how you can say, how about now? Or how about now? And it means something completely different.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, good.
Shawn.
Whew.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the audience can hear us both. That was 2 minutes.
That's awesome.
2 minutes of stress. So I'm glad everything's working.
That's cool.
Okay. Yep.
That's cool, Shawn. You're getting better at this every time.
Well, I feel
now,
like
welcome to the most beautiful place in the world at the moment.
Well, right now, as we see the dash of your exciting car, so that's pretty good.
My car is actually the most beautiful at the moment. Just got it back from well, I'm not going to say repair. refurbish,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm broke. But
But you're happy. That's the important thing.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
So, do you have a takeoff button, Shawn?
I do. Are you ready? Let's do this.
Let's do this.
Okay. Takeoff button has been pushed. Let's go ahead and.
I'm just going to show everyone my beautiful car.
Yes. Beautiful.
And my big drone there. And behold, so we are here right at the eastern end of the lava flow from the August eruption and the November-December eruption. Let's play with the lighting a little bit. You can also tell me, wait, which bird is that?
Yeah, I can hear that bird loud.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one that is.
So this fresh lava here, this is November lava, November 20th.
There are, I can see here to the north, the one from the northernmost eruption from August 23rd last year. And just around the corner, you're pointing towards Stora Skofell, and right in between there is our Skeletor's Castle from December 10th.
Right.
The northernmost of the three craters from the November 21 to December 10 eruption. Now, for obvious reasons, we couldn't be flying from here back then. There's a new road built by the landowner, and courtesy of the landowners. Well, I'd like to say for me personally, but I've been given permission to use it. And there is a company called Volcano Tours, part of Icelandia, that's going to have volcano tours, obviously, along this very ill-navigable road here in 4x4 vehicles with small groups. I highly recommend it.
There you go. So yeah, if anyone's heading out to Iceland now or in the near future, Volcano Tours, are they operating out of Grindavik, Johan?
Yeah, well, they have a website. You can just book, and they'll take you from the car park P1, which is familiar to visitors of Iceland and your subscribers, Shawn. And I believe the first tour hasn't even been hasn't even happened yet. So,
okay.
But the landowner has taken some people up here in his big
it's
4x4 monster truck.
New business that's just getting started, it sounds like.
All right. It's just a crispy day. The sun is just baking the lava in sun. So please tell me if you want to take the lighting down a little bit, or
yeah, it's a little washed out, or I can look down a little bit more. I just thought maybe we'd start with maybe like a 360 just to orient everyone kind of where we are.
Sure, take it away, Shawn.
Okay, so we're looking here more or less to the south-southwest down the line of craters there. So you can see that far hill. So Grindavik's just beyond that far horizon there, just down towards the coast. We've got Thorpur, the hill that's at the furthest away towards the right. And then we have Silingarfelt, the sort of second hill there. And then as we swing around this closest hill that's surrounded by lava here is Stora Stokfelt. And in between Silingarfelt and Stora Stokfelt, you can see the Blue Lagoon and the power plant. So that's our view to the west, I suppose. And we're kind of swinging around here towards the setting sun. A little hard to see there, but that's looking towards the airport. And then if we wheel around here more towards the north, the lighting's a little bit better. Now we're looking at those lavas towards Vogar. We're looking towards the capital, and these lavas from the November, mostly from the November eruption, some from the August eruption, some from the November eruption. And then one last view here to the east, up towards the hills of Fagradalsfjall. If we get high enough, we might be able to see the little crater peeking up. Yeah, so new location for us both, Johan. Is this your first time flying from here too?
Yes, you can share with your subscribers my adventure tour photos from.
I will. I'll put those in the. Yeah, he had to. Johan's gone to great effort to get us to this location. So big shout out to him for taking his Subaru where he maybe dare not go previously.
All right, I'm just gonna work the lighting while you.
Yeah, lighting's
Yeah,
not
and volcano tours sure, but don't forget to book your flight at natureye.com here in Grindavik, Iceland, or anywhere in our other spectacular locations. And use Shawn's discount code to get 10% off. You can also buy a gift certificate there if you're not into drone flying, but you know someone who is, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
You can invite one person with you, so you can fly and someone you love or don't love. You can be in separate locations.
right, your
You
frenemy.
can be at home. Yeah, you can invite someone to connect from his computer wherever he is in the world.
Yeah, so great gift idea. Like Johan says, the code is ShawnFly, so ShawnFly. That'll get you 10% off. And just, a neat experience. I mean, just something different that you can't do any other way. And, don't let the technology dissuade you. It's pretty simple. You can see the controls there in front of me. I can just, stop anytime I want to, hit the space bar. That takes a photo. So you can, make memories of your trip, and there's a drone pilot there to, like Johan, to kind of walk you through the whole thing. So you can't screw up, you can't mess anything up. If you can push keys on a keyboard, you can fly a drone. So do we have should we head this way? Is this a good destination to head down towards the main steaming cone down here?
To our favorite crater.
Yeah, I think it's like it's like a pilgrimage, right?
And anyone is welcome to post on Shawn's chat any idea for a name. What do we have yet? Red Devil is sort of on the top.
Yeah, I thought you had like some kids at some of the schools gave you some fun names. Well, what's really striking here is all the probably sulfate precipitation on the flow field. You can see all that white and some of the shades, soft shades of yellow and orange below us. Those are gypsum and sulfate deposits from just the degassing of these flows. Just really coloring the flow field here. Really nice. And then ESAC did a flight here. I'll show this later too, but we might actually get to see it on our own. I think this was the cone, or maybe the next one is the one he was looking at. They found like some green material, sent me a picture of it in one of the cones that I'm pretty sure is actually just moss or maybe some type of algae or something, but I don't think it's geologic. I think it's rather biologic. Now we can talk about that some more, but kind of interesting that on these fairly young flows, wouldn't think that the moss could take root this early, but I have some ideas to talk about later about that.
Do they include like alien technology or something?
No, nothing that exciting. Sorry to disappoint. Yeah, you're out then if it's not with the aliens. Johan's like yeah, this is great here.
Some of the best views we've ever had on a drone flight. It's the lighting conditions today.
Yeah.
So, believe it or not, it's so hot in Iceland. We have a slight heat mist, which almost never happens.
Yeah, it's been warm there. I saw that like up to 80 in some places, 80 Fahrenheit. Quite warm for you guys.
Yeah, not in Reykjanes, but still, it's still warm.
Right. I imagine, does it cool off much at night? Probably not much, because the sun's still...
Not really. The sun just sort of dips into the horizon and then starts coming up again.
Right.
We are soon 1 month into, this was 1 month ago, the longest day of the year.
Yeah.
So it's getting a little shorter.
Yeah, I remember being there in mid-August, late August, though. Like it's dark. It does start getting dark about then, and then it just kind of goes quick through the fall. If I remember.
I'm expecting or demanding just great weather till like end of October, beginning of November. But that's the thing about Iceland. The springtime is often quite volatile, the weather, but the autumn is my favorite.
Yeah.
And if you come to Iceland like late autumn, then it's already a little bit dark. So you have, the advantage of Northern Lights.
Yeah, you get
Stars
you get
in
a
the
little bit of
sky.
everything. You get the decent weather, northern lights, you know, enough daylight to do things.
Yeah.
There's a nice lava channel that came out of this cone. I remember when this happened. I just can't remember. I think it was August. It might have been the one before that. Might have been. I remember us. I remember flying when this was erupting.
Oh, this is the May 29th crater. We're
Okay,
already
so this
there.
is May. Okay.
Yeah, that was the
Yes.
most spectacular.
So this is the one we need a good name for. This is the.
Yes, precisely. We have good line of sight here, so
Okay,
we
so
can
you can
go
get lower.
further towards. You can go. Yeah, sure you can, but we can also fly over it and pretty far down towards Grindavik.
Okay.
Normally we can't do that because Hagafell gets in the way when we fly from Arnarsetur. That's nice.
Colors.
What's it?
Oh, we're close.
Yeah, you're getting bold.
I didn't know it was that low. I thought I had.
Where's my EV here? Yeah, so Grindavik looks awesome.
Yeah, really
Ooh,
nice weather.
bird just buzzed us.
Yeah, he is. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Whoa.
He's just buzzing us. But you can get a little higher just to be sure. Now I got tips for drone pilots who fly around where there are birds,
Mm-hmm.
oyster catchers, Arctic terns. So especially in Mivat, which is like a bird sanctuary. So you go there the first 2 or 3 times, you take off from the same location, go straight up, go straight out, come back the same way, land, do this a few times, and they will sort of, accept you
Hmm.
as the new bird on the block.
Yeah.
Just don't make any trouble.
It's
Don't
just you
go
just got to make
near there.
friends. It's just making friends. So
Yeah, just
this is actually a pretty cool view here because
ooh,
we have the main cone here in front of us, but in the middle ground, almost surrounded by lava, but not quite, we have that older shield volcano with a little pit in the top of it. Almost can see as well the Agradalsfjall. Yeah, so viewers, Johan and I are looking for a really good name for this. As he's told me, the Icelandic community takes years, decades sometimes to name something. So we're just preemptively just going to do it on our own here. And
I'm sure it will be considered.
yeah, at least put it in the mix, right?
Right.
All right, so let's head down a little further. We've seen this one several times.
Yeah, sure. And bring it up a bit.
Okay.
Ooh, there's a pair.
Yeah.
You take it higher, they think they've driven us off. So that's fine. Maybe Amanda Joe can help us, investigate the developments in the naming department.
Yeah.
I haven't been following it closely. All right. Heading towards our favorite crack in the ground.
Right. Interesting the birds would even fly over the lava field. I mean,
Oh, they're enjoying the view.
oh, well, okay. That makes sense. Aesthetics for the birds as well. Can't imagine there's much food up there. We good on battery?
50% left.
Okay.
5.4 kilometers out from takeoff.
This is
Good.
a different drone than what we've used or the same one?
This is the same one.
Go home.
He wants to go home.
You can take us around too if you want a little bit. I got to fly a bit.
Yeah. You can just pop.
Take us on a quick tour if you want. So this is the leading edge of Hagafell, the small hill just north of Grindavik, and you can see the big crack that's cut through the flank of the hill there with the lava that spilled out. This, on a cold day, this was the one that was oftentimes steaming and water vapor coming out of it. I think because it's so warm there, we're just not seeing quite as much.
Yeah, it's been warm and dry for some days.
Well, when you get a week, when I was there in May, it was like that for about a week, and I knew the other shoe was going to drop at any point, and sure enough, it did. It got rainier and windier, and
you're always unlucky with weather when you're here.
It's good while it lasts. It makes you appreciate it more. You got to have the contrasts. So what do you think about this new takeoff spot? Is it closer and more accessible to you, or is it harder to get to with the gnarly road?
Well, I mean, our usual one from Arnarsetur is ideal in many ways. Like, we are 5 kilometers out. When we fly from there, we'd be only like 3.1, 3.2 kilometers out.
Right, so it's a little closer to the craters.
Yeah, so when I get back, we'll switch the battery and we can just explore the northern end of the lava field.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Normally cannot do. Exactly.
Yeah, usually that's too far out for us to get to, but you're in a good spot for us to go look at the north end of.
Just had to see this in this.
Yeah, I'm surprised the colors from the gas mineralization. It's just becoming more colorful as time goes by and more gas comes out of that lava in the subsurface. That plus maybe the summer temperatures and rainfall. I don't know if that contributes.
It does. Now, of course, we are expecting the next eruption at the end of the tourist season or after the tourist season. And so, of course, that's a coincidence. And the least dangerous area is, of course, around the Blue Lagoon, which is also a coincidence.
Right. A lot of coincidences there.
Conveniently, yes.
Yep.
No, this is just amazing.
Yeah, I saw some of your favorite geologists over there were making some pretty bold predictions about dates and such.
It seems like all of Iceland is about to tear apart, and a lot of activity in lots of places. I personally think there's going to be one last eruption in Sundhnúkagigar fissure, and I think it will then move to another of these fissures here in the westernmost belt. Now,
yeah, this has been the longest period since all this began between eruptions. Last one was April 1st, and even that was a pretty minor eruption. Most of the action was underground, but that was a good 3.5 months ago. I guess November to April 1st was a pretty good stretch too. I guess prior one was November, so that was a good 5 months or so.
Oh, I just love these
flow textures.
These flows here.
They're
absolutely amazing. Now, yeah, land has already risen beyond what it was on April 1st.
Right.
And just to recap, you remember there was, it was a magma run that almost managed to break out to the surface here at the northern end. And it ended up, well, the magma chamber under the fissure, which is 5 miles, 8 kilometers, was around 8 miles or 11 kilometers. It lengthened to 20 kilometers, almost up to Reykjanesbraut Road, close to Vogar.
Right.
So,
but yeah,
the sort of.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying. even though it has risen already to the same level, it's not accelerating as fast. So
well, and
the whole event.
the old levels don't mean anything anymore because that April 1st event changed the space and the capacity in the magma storage system. So we've got more space for the magma to go. And so it stands to reason that you're going to need more uplift, more inflation to get to the point of an eruption occurring. And we just don't know what that is yet. We don't know what that threshold is.
Exactly.
That's the way I see it. But you're right. Yeah, it lengthened that intrusion, that dike from the original November 10th one from 23. So you see that little hill in front of you that's just barely sticking up above the lava all by itself?
Yeah.
Do you remember the Hawaiian term for that? I think I taught you that once.
I have problems remembering Hawaiian names. Sorry.
Well, is there an Icelandic word for it? Let's start there. Like a little barren patch of ground completely surrounded by lava, kind of an island in the lava, if you.
I don't know the name for the phenomenon per se, but I'm sure this one has a name. Every hilltop has a name.
Well, yeah, but the general like feature in Hawaiian, it's called a kipuka, Kipuka. Kipuka.
Oh, that's cute. And
Yeah.
it's also just more manageable than
than what you guys would put on it, right?
No, I mean, what do you call this fluffy lava again? A'a.
Yeah,
in
the
Hawaiian?
a'a, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's called apal rain, or just apal lava.
Well, we could come up with the Icelandic word for it, because what's island in Icelandic?
Well, that's Eyja, basically.
Eyja, and then lava is Kron?
No, that would be rain.
Oh, Kron.
Yeah.
You could kind of put those together and maybe kind of come up. Almost. I should not try so hard.
It is actually just like a hill.
Yeah, it's the top of the hill that's just not been covered yet.
It's pretty awesome, actually.
Well, they're interesting to biologists, especially when they're bigger, because you've got this totally different landscapes. If there was some like little squirrels or something living on that hill, and they weren't able to navigate the lava field well, they're kind of isolated. So how do like species, persist and thrive when they're kind of on their own little island?
Should definitely snap a photo here.
Yeah, you can. You got that, or can I still do it?
You can do it.
Okay, I didn't know what the.
All right. That's awesome.
Yeah, this lava is all less than a year. This is from November. It's now July. So that's maybe 7, 8 months. Oh, and you did make it up the hill. It's like a Subaru commercial down there.
It is. Let's take a closer look at this. I wouldn't call it road. That would be an overstatement.
It's all relative. Depends on where you live. Where I live in Idaho, that's a road.
Oh, that's a road in Idaho.
Yeah,
cool.
that's a well-maintained, traveled road.
There is a little track here going up to that weather station up there.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yep.
Oh, looks great.
Yeah, Skagit Ed, I'll answer your question real quick as Johan's swapping out the battery. So Skagit Ed, thanks for your donation to the community. And will we see an eruption before year's end? I think there's a good chance that yes, whether it's an eruption or another intrusion, that I think the system and the magma in the storage zone will reach its sort of pressurized capacity definitely before we turn the calendar over to 2026. I feel like that's a strong probability. Of course, no one knows for sure. Met Office is projecting sometime in the fall, which I always wondered, like Johan, from an Icelandic point of view, what is fall just sort of the typical like September to November timeframe, or do you guys have a different definition?
Yeah,
for fall?
I'm sort of saying October-ish.
Okay.
Early October.
Right. So we'd have several months to go still, maybe.
But then again, could happen at any time with a couple of days
right.
notice. We just don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, nice question, Skagidad. Thanks for the question and your contribution there. Yeah, I mean, no one knows for sure, of course. If I had to pick a month, probably September, October, like Johan said. I think that's a pretty high probability. If we're rolling into like Christmas time and there hasn't been an eruption or any activity at that point, I'd be a little surprised. But it's possible. We don't know if the magma influx and accumulation rate into the system is staying the same. There's lots of little variables. We really don't know, and this is the big thing. We really don't know after this April 1st intrusion. We don't know what the new magma storage capacity is. We don't know how much space there is in the subsurface for the magma to reside. And so this next event will probably help us determine that to some degree.
All right, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you. That was quick. That was a good pit stop. Should be working.
Excellent pit
like
stop.
F1, yeah. If this drone thing doesn't work out, you could be on the pit cruise. Yeah, so we'll go up to, we'll swing around here to the north and go check out the flow field up here. And Johan, feel free to correct me if you have any preferences.
Well, that's our August 23rd crater.
Okay.
The one we are barely able to reach, or just about able to reach, when we fly from our usual location.
Yeah, so we're much closer here. Yeah. That's just, what, maybe a kilometer and a half away? Something like that, maybe?
Yeah, something like that. So we can explore now to the northernmost reaches of... Yeah, so yeah, this is what we were just talking about here in the beginning. So this is like where the... Oh, this is awesome. So here you can see the extent of the November-December eruption.
Mm-hmm.
But almost just touching the lava flow from the August 23rd eruption.
Yeah.
And a little buffer in between.
Right, and the little bit of color difference, right? So we've got these flows of slightly different ages, and it's great we're here at this time, sort of in history, we can see the differences, because probably in another, 100 years or decades even, those will both look the same. They'll look essentially indistinguishable. But yeah, this is more of a dull kind of gray color. You can see a channel coming out, a flow channel right there in the middle of the view, and that kind of goes off to the left there. Follow it a little bit. And then some of the overflow features, place where it cut across. But a nice smooth little flow channel right there below us there.
Remind you can control the camera up and down.
I'm just not as good as as you are, so.
Don't sell yourself short.
All right.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy how just muted gray it is now. Like it's just lost color. This way. Road trip.
The sun's just hiding at the moment.
Skirt around.
Yeah, it's
side here.
Almost like, it was an ash cloud eruption.
Well,
here.
it looks like maybe it has some tephra covering it. Like there's this blanket of finer grain material on it, maybe from some other eruption and the wind blowing it into the spaces there. When I first was coming up on, I just thought it was kind of how it's weathered, but now it looks like there's this blanket of airborne material that's settled in around.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah, and I do remember from this eruption, I remember this outflow channel here on this northwest side. This was our, was this, Johan? This was our twin vent volcano, wasn't it? Where it had two vents at the top? I'm remembering a different one.
No.
Okay, that's a different one.
Yeah, that's the one we explored just in the beginning of our first flight.
Right.
You remember Skeletor's castle? Like
one was going off and the other one, yeah, that was always pretty fun.
Yeah, the one that was oscillating, like two glowing eyes in the dark.
Which is
Those were
interesting
some
because
of
we're
my.
seeing a similar thing at Kilauea right now with it has 2 vents and it's kind of behaving similarly where it's back and forth different vents.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's a nice one there.
Now this road loops around Fagradalsfjall all the way
Mm-hmm.
up to Langkoll, I'm told, which is the highest point. So we could like do a recap of the 2021 field from really up close. If the road is Subaruable.
Super. I love how you just created a new verb there. The ability to drive with your Subaru is Subaruable. That's
Yes,
hard. That's hard
exactly.
to say even.
Yeah, I've just barely managed.
Yeah. Tongue twister.
So why don't we follow the lava flow here towards Vågar? We've
Okay.
never been able to do that.
Yes,
from.
great idea. This in a trajectory straight.
I'm just gonna try and work the lighting here to our advantage. Just tell me how it looks.
Yeah, it looks pretty. I mean,
'Cause I don't have my.
yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
Obviously, if I look straight down, it probably looks better, but then we kind of lose the perspective of kind of where we're going. So I think balance right. It's a lot of gray, but that's the way it looks. So
Yes.
just
I'm not
incredible
gonna
to
play around with colors and such.
yeah.
Yep.
You
Sorry. Go on.
no, you do your artwork. That's great. I appreciate all the lighting. I was just gonna say, just it's just so fascinating to me. Just all the I know we've said this before, but just all the changes to this landscape, like this. You know, I haven't been going to Iceland very long, time-wise, and just think about all the eruptions that have covered this tract of ground or this region. Really incredible. What's the latest on, you know, at one point with these northern flows, there was concern about the road and Vogar, and maybe are they designing berms for that area? Are they just kind of like waiting to see how this whole thing plays out first? Any news?
Well, I mean, the village itself of Vågar is pretty small,
Right.
but the whole area from Vågar towards the capital, or Hafnarfjörður, suburb of capital, called Vatnsleysuströnd,
Hmm?
or waterless beach. Bad translation. It has sparsely. It's sort of sparsely populated, but there are sort of houses here and there. It's kind of difficult to build a wall around. The harbor of Vågar and the small village around it, maybe. But
Yeah, I mean yeah, it's hard to protect. It's a different sort of setting than Grindavik was.
what does protect it is, well, if there will be another eruption, say north of here or the August 23rd crater, then it is pretty much downhill all the way to Vågar. But there is a very large depression, not a valley, but a sort of large depression. So the lava needs to be of considerable volume to fill it up and then keep flowing towards
Right.
the coast. So it would need to be of considerable size.
Do you remember when we flew over this exact spot, I think before, and there was just some person down there? Like we zoomed in and there was like some person just like hanging out by this one of
Right,
these
yeah.
lobes. Yeah.
Just take it up a little bit,
Yeah.
Shawn, so we get a better signal. It's just starting to get a little grainy. That's already great. Yeah, I think they had to, or they didn't have to, but public safety went after him and saved him. I don't know if
Right.
he needed saving, but you can just see from the lava field here, it's very brittle,
Yeah.
very thin. You don't want to hike on that. It's not safe.
You can see these collapse features. There's these pits.
Yes.
There's one right there, and these are where it's actively degassing. Well, there's big cracks too, but there's a pit right there, pretty much in the center of the view. It's almost like there was a bit of a tube system maybe in this flow field, and you have some of these sections that collapsed. Like to me, like what we call a skylight in a lava tube. And then this is interesting here. So, and we had seen these before during this eruption, but you know, this area is highly fractured and faulted. Just the old landscape, the hundreds of year old landscape, has a lot of these big cracks running through it, which has affected just sort of the way the lava has filled in this area. And these cracks, you know, we don't know how far down they go, but there's probably more at depth. And these are the things to think about when we get things like the April 1st intrusion, is there's cracks and spaces that are already pre-existing in the subsurface on this landscape.
You need to take it higher.
Yep, you're good. That, you know, could be spaces for the lava to go.
I've never seen those before. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, there's Kalia right there.
That's Kalia.
But these cracks show up. I mean, even on like Google Earth, you can see some. So this, you know, at some point in the past, these all formed by, you know, faulting, extension. Some of them maybe had.
Oops.
So you got it.
Oh. All right.
We add our limit is sort of distance-wise, probably. Okay, I won't go any further out then.
Yeah. Also, there's just a hilltop in the way here.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to, you can fly around a bit if you want. Just
back it up. Keep looking this way.
Okay. Well, I'm disabled right now. All yours.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, just back it up. What's the height you have on the left-hand side?
153 meters.
Okay. Shouldn't go higher.
Yeah, that's as high as it.
Backing it up. Okay. I will back it up.
Yeah, if you want to back it up.
Where are we now?
Yeah, so these cracks were here before. Laura was asking, Chile. They show up on Google Earth. They were there, you know, whenever this area was active before this latest round. So 800 years ago, 1200 years ago, on that time frame. And they all trend for the most part northwest southeast, so they're following the, you know, dominant perpendicular to the extension direction. They're following the dominant structural trend. Oh, that's great there. Thank you. Round. Excuse me.
Excuse me. What's the height we have?
150 and dropping.
Okay, let's go under 150.
Yeah, you're about 135 now.
Turn it over to you.
Okay, great.
You just fly this way.
Yeah, we'll just start bringing it back slowly. Yes, we've got a little lobe below there. And I believe that hill, that's Litla Skogfeld, correct? Is that correct? That's the name of that hill. Litna means little. So it's almost a kapuka. Look at that. The lava didn't quite totally surround it, but close.
Just go a little further, then we got a good signal. All right.
Like those individual lobes, like the just pattern they make, just sitting on top of the topography. Then you can see a little piece here, kind of in the middle, where it's filled in a little depression, a little fracture. It looks like that lobe kind of goes. Section.
That's collaboration. Shawn on the controls. I'm doing the camera.
Yes, that's probably good for everyone. And all I'm doing right now is pushing the drone forward. It's really good for me.
If Shawn can do it, anyone can do it.
Yeah, there we go. That's the NatureEye philosophy.
Go to natureye.com.
And I've been flying these drones a lot here, team, and so I haven't crashed one yet. Well, we sort of team crashed one during January 14th, but that was that's because we saw a vent open up, and it sort of was warranted. It was a historic moment. But normally we do a good job. So yeah, again, friends, natureye.com is the place to go. My name, Shawn, SHAWN FLY. So Shawn Fly will get you 10% off. And again, not just here in Iceland. So you could book one here in Iceland with Johan and fly over these landscapes. He's got several takeoff locations. He can tell you, depending on what you want to see, the best place to go and look at things. But they also have other locations and destinations around the world. So encourage you to look at their website. It's only a few more shopping months till we have to start thinking about Christmas. And what a great gift. You could get them an Amazon gift card, I suppose, or you could give them a really cool experience like a NatureEye flight. And they've been a great company to partner with, really has transformed our ability to document the eruptions that have taken place and investigate the landscape in detail. So we all want to support NatureEye, so encourage folks to go there, check it out, consider a gift for yourself or for someone else, and check things out. Fun.
So let's head to the Skeletor's castle, shall we?
Okay, yeah.
It's right there. It's your control again.
Straight ahead as we go. And we're good height-wise? I'm at 148?
Yeah, so on your screen, you're looking at height above ground.
Right.
It's a little outdated, so there's also the thickness of the lava field.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we we're pretty good. On that top of that crater from December 10, the thickness of the lava is about 34 meters.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, even when I was there this last time, Johan, when I saw you in Grindavik, we had lunch with folks. That's the thing that struck me the most was just the skyline, driving in the Blue Lagoon Road, like what I had seen before, just the little high points on the ridge and, out in the distance. It had changed. Like it changed from one year to the next. It was a different skyline and a different landscape, just even looking at, literally these mountains grew before our eyes. Now they're not huge mountains, but still, pop one of these down in Kansas, it would be a big mountain. It'd be a ski resort. Yeah, and you're much better at keeping track of them all, especially when we do the drone flights, than I am. It was so much easier when there was like 2 eruptions. Now we're up to like 7 or 8, 9. 8.
7 plus the April Fool's one.
Yeah. Yeah, which I guess counts because lava did come to the surface, but kind of a small squirt.
Yes. No, I like that little...
Another Kapuka.
Yeah, that's actually an old crater from the eruptions that were 2,300 years ago.
Can we get a quick picture? Put that in the middle.
Yeah, sure. You have control. We have enough battery. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really neat.
You can dip down also. You have good signal.
Yeah, old crater, new craters, right?
Yeah, I think we mentioned on some of our streams that, during the eruptions here from the middle of the 12th century till the last one, which was 1304, that's basically where we fly usually from, Arnarsetur, that is a crater. It is erupting now on Sundhnúkagegar fissure, which erupted during the previous one, around 2,300 years ago. So some of the craters are new, but in some cases, it's erupting through old craters.
Wow, yeah.
It did not erupt through this one.
No.
And this one is just all alone.
Yeah.
In a sea of new lava.
Put your tiny house up on that, Johan.
It's an awesome, cake with frosty
Yeah,
icing on
but the
top.
color change is just so cool. Like you can just see, like in another couple hundred years, the rest of this will probably be that color, similar. So this one is the Skeletor's Castle.
This is Skeletor's Castle. Those were some of the most difficult flights we did.
Well, it sounds like we already named this one then. It's Skeletor's Castle. The polls are closed. We've already decided.
It's the unofficial name.
Okay.
I'm not sure it's gonna stick.
You're open. I like it. As a kid that grew up in the 80s, I like that.
Most definitely.
Yeah, so here's a side where those two vents erupting. A little bit.
Yeah, I got perfect line of sight, so you can just... Oh. Right, I'll fix the lighting.
No, I think it looks okay. Camera.
Oh, sorry. I know.
No, well, you probably fix the lighting and then I move the camera on you. Maddening.
Let me just check. All right.
So do you think if it was morning time and, cooler weather in Iceland, we'd see a lot more steam coming out of this flow field? Because we're just not seeing much at all. Like this is the least, and I guess I would attribute it mostly to the weather. Yes.
Yeah, it's been hot and dry.
Yeah.
And, whoops. We got good signal, but there's some kind of electromagnetic disturbance. Remember when this was all flowing here?
Yeah.
In all directions. And the NatureEye flights were, a little bit of a lottery, because you could be on a flight and just like with the May 29th eruption, you could score like a new breakout live on your flight.
Yeah.
Like way from the crater, like a kilometer away from the crater, you would see this bright spot and the earth just opening up and a whole kilometer long torrent just flowing out really quickly and then just solidifying, and it would be over.
Yeah, I remember some of your guests had some really amazing, memorable flights.
Oh yeah.
Yes, you just never know what you're going to get, but I've really enjoyed. I mean, even though the live action, eruption flights were obviously pretty highlights and big deals, I've always found these, between eruptive flights just really interesting as well. Like, not chasing the red stuff. We're just looking at the landscape, and I think you can focus in and maybe see more features that way. Just focus on where the
like we
lava
mentioned
is.
before, that's on flights like these, because obviously when there's an eruption you just want to go straight to where the molten lava is.
You're totally captivated. Yeah, look at the heavy oxidation just below some of the surface there.
It's about as close as we can get.
Yeah, I would have never gone it that close, at least on purpose.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was a vent. I mean, that's what's cool is you're looking into these holes, and that was connected to the subsurface magma body. Like that was where it came out.
The birds around here are just having a conference about what am I doing here.
Nests nearby or something. So this is May. You think this is May 29th? This is May 29th. Later.
No, this is the December 10th.
Oh, this is
Skeletor.
December. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I need to
This
probably
is
make
the northernmost of the 3 craters from the November 21 to December 10.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all confusing because we're flying from a different
Well, I
location.
have a little cheat sheet in front of me that has all the dates of the eruptions, but now I feel like I need to like add the names of the events, like Skeletor, November 20th, you know, like whatever we call
it's gonna look like a treasure map.
right, the Red
Pirates.
Dragon or whatever we're calling that one from May.
If anyone can remember the video game Sid Meier's Pirates.
I knew that one.
That was like Commodore 64 old.
Oh, well, I had that. Like a scavenger hunt thing, like you get one thing to get to another. That maybe.
Oh, it's like you got this paper printed map of the Caribbean with like, Port Royal and
destinations,
Cartagena.
yeah.
And then, it was one of the first games of this genre, actually. All right. We're heading towards home here.
Yeah, this has been great. Great conditions. Like, yeah, the lighting was really good. No real wind, as far as I could tell.
There's like anti-wind.
Well, usually we can't even have your mic on very much because the wind's blowing into it badly. I can tell it's pretty calm there.
Yeah, I don't even need my pilot scarf.
Yeah, exactly. Well, remember these days when we're flying with you this January and you're all bundled up with your scarf and everything else on. You gotta take days like today and bottle them and put them in your back pocket.
Yes. All right.
Well, I'm glad you were able to find this new access point, Johan. This has been super. I really liked flying out of this location. Depending on the winds and stuff for the next eruption and where the vent opens up, it may or may not be accessible. For now, it's an option for us.
All right.
Last look at the Subaru and Johan there. Everyone on the live chat, say thank you to Johan and NatureEye for their great work here today and opportunity for us all to see the eruption. You're just landing on your car these days. I love it.
I always land on my car.
Oh, okay.
That's why it's got all these scratches.
You need to like do some plasti dip or vinyl coating or something on there for you.
No, these scratches are like memories,
Yeah. Good scars. Well, everyone's telling you thank you on the live chat, Johan. So you're
thanks everyone. I'm gonna upload your photos quickly so you can use them on the stream.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, give me the photos when you can. I can share those with folks. But much appreciated, my friend.
Thank you. I'm gonna navigate back, and then next time we'll try and see if we can get up to Longcoat for the 21 lava field up close.
Well, drive safely out of there, and we'll see you next time, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mandy Joe. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, take care, Johan. Goodbye. All right, so that was super fun. Hopefully everyone enjoyed that. Let me show you real quick here on Google Earth. I can show you more or less where we were flying from, if that is helpful. Let me add to the lava fields for the November and August eruptions. And so the way he got there, and again, he had permission from the landowner, so don't try this on your own, but there's the parking area and the trail that takes you to the Fagradalsfjall eruptions from 2021 to 2023. And somewhere in here, I think it's this road here, he took to get out. Yeah, here, and then it kind of goes along the edge of the hills here, and he ended up pretty close to where I have the pin there. There's that hill, that Kipuka that we saw near where he landed, where the lava is just sticking, or excuse me, the hill's just sticking up above the lava. So Johan was somewhere over here. That's where we took off from. that at least gives you, hopefully that helps a little bit, gives you some context as to where our flight was today. We did our first flight kind of down the crater row, maybe about down to here. And then our second flight we did out to this northern end here. We flew out to this, and I told you those cracks were visible on Google Earth. And so you can see some of those fractures running through the landscape here just to the north of this flow field. And they persist. I mean, some of these go kilometers. They go all the way out and pretty much to the road or near the road, highway here. So anyway, fun stuff. So thanks again to NatureEye and Johan for that. Okay, turning back to the rest of our program, if you're still with me, and I hope you are. Hope everyone's doing okay. So a couple of announcements. So so one thing that has come about is I have 3 kids, and my middle child, my oldest son, came to me a few months ago, and they kind of are aware of like what dad does on the side when he's not teaching college classes. And he's like, "Hey dad, you know, you should be on Instagram, and you should be on TikTok, and I could make you little short videos from your content, and people, maybe like other people could see them, and you could broaden your reach, whatever." So I kind of let him run with that, you know, and told him I'd help him out if he was able to do that. So the short of it is that if you are on Instagram and want to follow me there, you want to use Geology_explained. Let me actually start here to show you it here. So there you go. So actually right now, if you wanted to follow me on Instagram, and you literally hold up your phone right now to your monitor and scan this QR code, that should take you there. But otherwise, it's just Geology_explained. And what you'll see there is sometimes it's videos you guys will regularly see on YouTube. Sometimes it's other things. Like, for example, I did a short little video. I was doing a climb out at City of Rocks this past Saturday. And so there's a little short 1-minute video from me up on a big 4-pitch multi-pitch climb that I was doing with a friend. And there's some in here, little video clips of our travels in the Alps in Switzerland. He took a little snippet of my Mount Rainier video, which some of you saw, a little snippet from one of the Kilauea eruptions. This one here in the top left corner is the August 2022 eruption in Hawaii, but just still fun things. So he's just taking all my content, some new, some not so new, making little short videos out of it, and then putting it on this site here. So Geology_explained. If you're on Instagram or you're interested in it, that's another way to do that. Let me put the little code up again, and I'll let people scan that in if they want to. Second here, put that back up. So there's that, and I have like an Instagram account, but I just don't check it. So realize as you go there, if you follow this, I do check the videos before he puts them out there. They do have captions, which is nice. So they'll have words that go with whatever is being spoken. So you actually you don't even have to have the sound up, and you could still follow along. And I go through and make sure as best I can that the words are all spelled correctly, that, you know, the geology terminology doesn't get too butchered or whatever. So it does have captions. So that's one handle there. And then I am not at all on TikTok, but maybe you are, or maybe your kids are, or your grandkids, or something like that. And so, so the TikTok handle, if you want to follow some of the same content on TikTok, is just Shawn Willsey Geology. So just all together, Shawn Willsey Geology. Interestingly, when he was setting this up, we discovered that someone already has the TikTok handle Shawn Willsey YT, like YouTube, and they are somehow taking some of my videos and breaking them up into short segments and reposting them. So basically, they're totally hacking my stuff. So if you happen to already be following that and think you're following me, it is not me. That is someone else that is basically stealing my stuff and sort of stealing my identity. I don't feel good about this, but we have reported them to like the TikTok police. But these things take a long time, and I don't know if it'll ever be resolved. But anyway, if you are on that social media platform and you want to see other little short videos, that my son's putting together, Shawn Willsey Geology. And if you see anyone with this little handle here, that is not me. So just be aware of that. It might show my face, it might have my voice, it might be showing my videos, but it's not actually me posting that. So probably want to steer away from that. Just, you know, the internet gives us a lot of great things, including this wonderful live stream that we're doing right now. But there's also a dark side to it. And I think we all somewhat recognize that. Okay, so that's some stuff with the social media aspect of things. Quickly here, kind of switching gears slightly. Folks often ask me like ways that they can contribute to the channel, that sort of thing. Obviously, watching the videos is helpful, but there are donate buttons here on the channel that you can go to, including, so some of these are on like PayPal, some of these are on other platforms, but one that we added because a viewer asked was she said, hey, I don't want to do PayPal, I don't want to do this, that, I just want to be able to put in a debit card or credit card and donate to the cause that way. So on our homepage, we do have a donate button there where you can basically add any amount and donate by credit card, and it goes right in that way. So there's the PayPal link if you want to do that, there's the coffee one if you want to do that, or you can just click on one of these dollar amounts here and do it that way. So it's all appreciated. It helps us put out more videos, get around, put these things together. And if you're not able to, that's fine too. This is not a paid membership sort of thing. Okay, so let's go back to a couple other announcements real quick, and then we will get to our Iceland update and some questions from you folks. And so we did that. Very good. So what's coming up as we kind of look ahead into the calendar for the rest of the summer and into the fall? It is mid-July right now. I have maybe a month of summer left, and then I'm back in the classroom and my schedule becomes a little bit more regimented, I suppose. But I do have a couple things happening coming up, one of which is the Grand Canyon trip with viewers at the end of July. That'll keep me offline, so heaven forbid there's an eruption in Iceland when I'm gone. But if during that period of time, during those 6 days, some big geologic event happens and you're wondering where I am, I'm literally at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. I have no service. I'm not connected at all. And I will get to that geologic event as soon as I can. But just making you good folks aware of that I'll be not in contact for those 6 days. Another fun thing I have coming up soon, many of you might be following and know about another great YouTube geologist, GeoGirl. Her real name is Rachel. She was a guest on one of my interviews maybe about a year or so ago. Her channel has grown. She's right on the cusp of 100,000 subscribers, which is great. She's knowledgeable, she's personable, she's a great teacher. But she's actually going to be rolling through Twin Falls in late August, and I'm going to be with her, and I think her fiance is coming out. We're going to go out and do a couple videos. They're actually kind of traveling towards Yellowstone. I'm going to show them a couple things around here. So you can look for some collaborative videos with GeoGirl sometime around that time. So that's something fun to look forward to, and it'll be fun to show her around the Snake River Plain and just some of the areas around here. She's based in, I think she's in South Carolina somewhere back east, and so it'll be fun to just show her around the West. Next thing I have is I have put together this other field trip. So I have teased this a few times previously. I have finally got the dates down. I've got most of the logistics figured out, just the fine details I'm working on right now. And this is a field trip. The idea was that we would start sort of in the wake of the Yellowstone hotspot, kind of where I live here in Twin Falls, and then work our way through the Snake River Plain towards Yellowstone National Park, sort of piecing together and looking at all the different volcanic features, the different topography that's formed because of the passage of the North American plate over the Yellowstone hotspot. So I have some dates for that. It's a 4-day field trip. It's a little different than any field trip I've ever done. So this will be a brand new venture for me in one regard, in that it is going to be a bit caravan style, which means all the participants will probably be driving their own cars. Maybe some of them will be carpooling a little bit. But we'll start in one place, and by the end of the day, we're in a different place. And then everyone will kind of figure out their own lodging. Some people might be camping. Some people might be in hotels or rental houses or whatever. And then the next day we meet somewhere at that location in the morning, and then head out, make stops along the way, and end up in another place. And the idea is we're moving to the northeast, up the Snake River Plain, and then we end in Yellowstone National Park. When the trip ends, of course, if you wanted to, you could stay longer and extend your stay and maybe spend another day or two in the Yellowstone Jackson Hole area. So everyone kind of does their own lodging, does their own food, and we do have that up on the website. So if folks are interested in maybe participating and joining us in that, you can go to the website, go to field trips, and of course the big props here on the website is Amanda Jo, who has like made the website and like manages it and does all the things I A, couldn't do, and B, definitely don't have the time to do. But we've got so you can click here on the trip itinerary and kind of see where we start. We're actually starting in Jackpot, Nevada, which is about 45 minutes south of Twin Falls, and then we end that first day in Arco. We'll go through Craters of the Moon. We'll go to some places you've heard of, but we're going to go to some other places as well. Saturday, we go from Arco across the Snake River Plain to the Idaho Falls area, and then we end up on the third day in West Yellowstone. And then the fourth day, we actually go into the park. We're going to make several stops in the park. And then the trip's kind of over. People can extend if they want to, but I'll need to head out at the end of that day in the evening and get back to Twin Falls because I'll have a class the next day on Tuesday. So that's the plan. And so you can check that out and look at information there if you're interested in that. But I'm hoping to get, at least 10, maybe as many as 20 or so people that want to go explore this amazing landscape and see what the Yellowstone hotspot has done over the last 10 million years in this part of Western North America. So that is super fun. And I think with that, I have just one or two little things left, and then we'll get to our Iceland update. So Yellowstone hotspot, two last points here on sort of the calendaring front. I'm going to the Geological Society of America's annual meeting in San Antonio in I guess mid-October. Haven't been to a big annual meeting for GSA in might be a decade, so it's been quite a while since I've been there. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping to maybe do some interviews with some people, maybe get out around San Antonio and do some road cuts or some other little videos. Never been to San Antonio. But looking forward to it. So if you're in that area, maybe you can meet up with me. But I also want people to know that these meetings are open to anyone. So even though it is a meeting technically for geology professionals, they are actually working very hard and trying to figure out ways to include the public in their meetings. And so meetings like this consist of presentations, both oral presentations and poster presentations. There's a big exhibit hall where they're selling all sorts of fun stuff, from geology pun t-shirts to maps to books to all sorts of things. They do have field trips at these meetings that the public can go on. So just like a professional, anyone can go on these field trips. So if you're in that area or want to travel there, encourage you to go. They're a really good way to meet people, learn new geology. It's just the way we dispense and share information, kind of what we're doing. So that might be of interest for folks. And then finally, with regard to field trips, if there is interest in people doing field trips around Twin Falls, I've done these previously, but maybe you haven't been able to make it on one of those and you're interested. If I hear that there's enough interest in doing some day-long field trips in the area here around Twin Falls, I can add those for November. I just don't want to add those and then kind of have it be cricket. So if you're interested in maybe coming to this part of Southern Idaho in some part of November, send an email to the website to Amanda Jo, and we'll see if we can put something like that together. Okay, so those are my announcements. Hope that wasn't too long-winded for you. Let's now move on to our Iceland update. So for today, July 15th, so we just flew over the whole area, but this is also what it's looking like right now on the webcam. We just flew over that crater. We actually took off from somewhere over here. You looking to the east. We do have a new Met Office update for today. So this is for today, July 15th. Not a whole lot of data here, but the big takeaways from the latest Met Office update is that uplift continues. So we're still seeing uplift at Svartsengi with the GPS stations there. So that is interpreted to represent magma continuing to move up into that shallow storage zone, filling up that shallow storage zone. They say here, if magma accumulation continues at a similar rate, it can be expected that the likelihood of an intrusion or eruption will increase as autumn approaches. So kind of a vague time frame there, you know, and Johan and I talked about it a little bit on the drone flight, you know, could be September, could be October, who knows. And so deformation continues to show uplift, but the rate has slightly decreased in recent weeks. This is an important sentence here. The data indicates that approximately 2/3 of the volume of magma that was withdrawn from the magma chamber during the event on April 1st has reaccumulated. So basically, we've filled that magma storage zone to about 2/3 capacity since April 1st. So we got another third or so to fill before an eruption seems, you know, more likely, or an intrusion possibly. So they say that seismic activity has slightly increased in recent weeks, but again, pretty slight, so not a whole lot going on there. And then they have their typical hazard map there. So that's the latest update from the Met Office. Amanda Jo's notified me that there was some folks talking a little bit about yesterday's update, which was in Icelandic, but they didn't put it on the English channel. So this is a Google Translate version, Icelandic to English, of that update. But apparently over the last few days, maybe a week or so ago, there was some weird data trends on some of the GPS stations. A lot of them were showing uplift that looked a little bit out of the ordinary. That was some sort of data glitch. It says here that the disruption was caused by 2 unrelated technical issues. One was a new GPS satellite that was put up, and it says, but the tables needed to work with it were not updated as needed. So some sort of, you know, technical connection thing going on there. And then data from several foreign stations did not return at the beginning of the week, exaggerating the error even further. So they didn't get data returns early, and then when it came in, it magnified that error a little bit. The response was initiated immediately, and the issue has been resolved. So if you were tracking some of that GPS data and getting alarmed or concerned, just know that that was a little glitch based on some of the data there, and that's been corrected as best they can. So that's that little bit. If we go through our kind of normal routine here and look at just a couple earthquake maps here, this is the last 24 hours. A few earthquakes here from Grindavik up to the northeast through the Sundakur crater series. Looks like maybe there's like 10 earthquakes or so total there. So you can see that trend there, but very small magnitudes. These are all below magnitude 1. Not much really of concern there. And then this little cluster here over in the Krishuvik system near Lake Klevervat, this looks pretty typical as well. Small magnitude. We've seen clusters like this before. So nothing too alarming when we kind of look at the 24-hour earthquake data. When we look over the past week at earthquakes in the area, we see basically the same trends at sort of basically the same level of frequency. So here's Grindavik here. Again, a few earthquakes, maybe a few dozen or so along that lineament there where the dike is, and then a few in Fagradalsfjall, just scattered ones, and then a little bit higher concentration over here near Krishuvik. But these are typical. We've seen these before. There's no ground deformation over here that suggests that magma is moving into this system. So for now, we believe these earthquakes are probably most likely tectonic in nature. So that's sort of earthquake activity on the Reykjanes Peninsula. The biggest thing, of course, over the last few months really has been watching the GPS data. And now that these events are taking so long, kind of so many months between events, that I found that these 3-month plots are not that helpful because I can't see the last eruption and kind of see where I'm at in terms of a reference point. I guess the best utility of these 3-month plots is just seeing some of the fine details, sort of the uplift increasing and then kind of plateauing for a few days and then increasing. So you can see that, but I think what I've actually been looking at more recently that's helpful is looking at the more long-term plots. So if we come over here to Svartsengi and we look at like a 1-year plot, what we see here is you can see the uplift here. So here's the last August eruption right here where it drops down. Then we have the November 20th eruption, and then that April 1st event here. And I guess the big takeaway here is noticing that prior to April 1st, this was the highest level of the GPS station, this last little red dot right here. Then we had that eruption, and well, it was mainly an intrusion, I guess. And then here's the inflation coming afterwards, and then ending here. So we are well above that threshold there. But again, the big point I've been trying to make here is we have more space. And so this will probably continue to tick up as we go into the next couple months. This, maybe not at a higher rate. It might slow down. It might kind of ebb and flow like we saw with the the 3-month data here. But we don't know where that threshold is. We can't say for sure what level we need to get to sort of fill that magma storage zone. So the point here is that maybe going to a site like this will be helpful because you can see the GPS data. You can still do the 90-day one, so there's basically the same 3-month period, or you can pick 1 year's worth of data to look at, or you can even go back and show this shows almost 5 years data. So there's all the eruptions coming in. So you get a few more options here if you use this kind of interface versus the other GPS site showing. Okay, so that's I think that's the end of my brief little Iceland update. One question that kind of came across, this is, and he actually contacted me today as well. So Isak, our good friend Isak, who does great drone flights over different parts of Iceland, apparently he did a live stream 2 days ago, and they flew over one of the craters here. I'm not sure exactly which one this is, but they flew over this crater, and I'll just show you this little clip here. And on the video, they did sort of zoom in here, and in sort of the vent crater walls, they found, we'll zoom in on it in a second, these interesting green deposits. You can see some of it right here. If I actually back up a little bit, you can see it a couple other places as well. Like there's some here, some down here. And so I guess viewers of his live stream were sort of speculating on, well, what is that? That's, what is that green stuff there? Is it some weird mineral? You can see some down here. There's a little pocket right there, very bottom. And so he sent this to me and said, hey, just what's your take on this? And I've this shade of green, there's a lot of green minerals out there. This shade of green to be produced by a volcanic outgassing precipitation event, I don't know of any mineral that matches that. And so my best guess is exactly what it looks like. I think it's moss or lichen or algae or something like that that's growing here. Now, typically we don't see moss reestablishing itself on top of these young lava fields for a couple of years, and this is maybe a cone that's only a year or so old. But what might be happening here is that these mosses, if this is moss or some other sort of pioneering plant, well, not even a plant, I guess, but like a species, these need high humidity levels and moisture to grow. And really it's getting high humidity levels, moisture, and the right kind of temperatures, right? And so I think if you can see how like porous and permeable the lava is right here. There's a lot of holes in it. And so if you can get the air kind of really circulating there, it definitely has the humidity because you've got the water vapor escaping from this. And so it's kind of a high humidity area. My 2 cents here is that maybe you've just got these perfect conditions for these little microbes or spores or moss, I don't know, sorry, I'm not a biologist, to actually start taking root. And so I'm 80% sure it's something like that and not a geologic mineral deposit that's kind of coating it there. To maybe kind of further my argument a bit there, I did a quick scan on the internet. So you can see sort of that shade of green there. And then here is moss growing adjacent to, now this is obviously more obviously moss because you can see the clumpy nature, but really just looking at the color here. And this is actually from a similar high latitude area. This is the South Sandwich Islands down in southern Atlantic Ocean. So you can see another volcanic landscape, but around this crack where the steam comes out, you've got just the perfect humidity conditions and the perfect little microclimate to grow this moss here. And so that's my best guess as to what that is that's probably moss, and if not moss, it's lichen or algae or something in that realm. Again, I'm not a biologist. I know someone in the live chat will correct me on how different those things are, but it's biology rather than geology. So that's my 2 cents on that. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. And let's go to a couple other questions that Amanda Jo kind of pre-sent me. So let me grab a couple of those here and read those to you. So from Danny C, how would you interpret the stalling of the northeast movement despite upwards movement? And she sent a graph here to kind of support what she's talking about. So what's in question here is, if we go to the Svartsengi, this is what she sent, was this here. So what you can see here is this is the north-south movement. So you can see clearly after the April 1st intrusion and minor eruption that this station has pretty steady northward movement until you kind of get into July, and then it all kind of like dies and flatlines a little bit. Again, lots of big error bars here, but you definitely can see a change in the slope and trend here. Similarly, looking at the east-west plot, you can see it moving to the west. That's the upward motion there. And then it kind of like stagnates a little bit there. And then the upward motion more or less continues. So her question was, how would you interpret these two directions of movement stalling while this goes up continuously? And I guess the best way I would take it at explaining that, so first of all, good question, thank you, Danny, is you have to consider the stress conditions that are causing the movement, right? And so we've got this station fixed to the Earth's surface, and it can either move up, it can move east to west, or it can move north to south, or any combination thereof. And to get it to move, to get the ground to move, you need rock to be under some sort of stress and respond to that stress. And it can respond to that stress brittly or ductily. It might do it brittly if there was a big earthquake, if the stress built and then that station moved suddenly in any direction, up, down, east, west, north, south, then it might do that. And you would see that as a big sort of spike or jump on the data there. It's not really happening. It's moving more slowly, and so it's behaving more, the rocks are behaving more ductily there. So what we might be seeing is, it might be, if it is slowing down, and I wouldn't say that, you know, a couple days worth of data is really like a notable trend, but it could be. So if these trends continue, it could be that the station is no longer able to move laterally in those two dimensions or directions because the rocks are rigid enough and stiff enough that they don't give anymore, right? It's really about the force that's trying to deform the rocks, in this case, the magma migration, I suppose, and the strength and rigidity of the rocks. But if there's still some elasticity, if the magma's main stress or force on the rocks is not so much outward but upward, then you would maybe see this type of trend here. So that's one possible interpretation of that, is that the heat is allowing the rocks to behave more ductily, and so because they're ductile and because the magma's main direction of force or stress is upwards, is that maybe is causing the GPS station to continue to rise and the uplift to continue on. So just a thought there. So that was a question from Danny. Hopefully that helped and addressed it a little bit. A conversation that people on a group chat had, and this is, I guess they want Amanda Jo to ask me about this, from Erlene Strom. If you look at the latest plot from No Grumpy, anyway, you can see fluctuations after the April 1st intrusion than the time before eruptions, before this latest event. I think the models might need some calibration. Even more even more GPS stations after the intrusion. I would agree that always more data is better than less. And Amanda Joe's thought there was if some of that fluctuations come from new cracks filling and thus draining and needing to refill and then draining more into cracks repeat, if it makes sense that way. Yeah, so I think Amanda Joe's line of reasoning makes sense, is that we have to take everything's different now. So the whole April 1st intrusion just reset the whole scene here. And so this new intrusion way out here now has changed the stress conditions dramatically in this area. And it's created more spaces and more conduits. Maybe it's closed off some conduits. And that's probably why we're seeing so much different types of data, different data trends, looking at the GPS data and looking at some of the model calculations as well. Some other questions that came in. How likely is it that future eruptions will happen much closer to the capital region? So, we can see that this April 1st intrusion extended things a little bit. So I think now have, and I think the Met Office has done this as well, our hazard assessment for this region or hazard level, I suppose, has increased over what it was previously. I don't think there's any evidence to suggest this crack's going to, this dike's going to just continue right into that region. That seems a little bit extreme. And so how likely is it the future eruptions will happen? I think from this system and this sort of current iteration, it's pretty low probability, but could over the next few years, decade or so, could we get other volcanic systems closer to the capital region becoming active? Absolutely. So I think is there a risk there? Yes. I would say it's pretty low probability right now, but that can change pretty quickly. Another question, will lava erupt in Grindavik and Vogar next since the magma tunnel has gotten longer? I think it's possible. I think Vogar isn't quite in the same situation as Grindavik because, the worst part about Grindavik is that the dike cut right through the town. The earthquakes were really centered there. And so there's a lot of fractures and a lot of structures in the rock, which could become conduits for the magma, right? So we think the magma lies right underneath parts of Grindavik. We know there are pathways there. So that puts it in a different category versus Vogar, which is just closer now to where where this dike was intruded, and potentially is in the pathway of one of these lava flows. So I don't think it's a for sure guarantee that either place is going to see lava anytime soon, but it's certainly a possibility. Let's see, another question. Because there's been a lot of earthquakes off of the Reykjanes Peninsula, I guess they're talking about like the one out here. Does this mean Svartsengi is going to erupt again very soon? It always seems to erupt almost directly after one of these times we get a lot of quakes there. Yeah, I haven't seen any correlation there. It would really surprise me if you had some sort of earthquake activity off the tip here on the Reykjanes Ridge that was, there's a difference between correlation and causation, right? So just because something correlates at the same time or roughly at the same time doesn't mean one's causing the other, right? Just because I sneeze 3 times at 6 o'clock in the morning when the sun's rising doesn't mean that the sun rising is causing me to sneeze. It's correlation, it's a coincidence. And so I wouldn't say right now, without deep diving into the data, that earthquake activity here causes eruptions. We would need to have more definitive data that links those two together before we would go down that path. And then the last question on this list, and then we'll go to what other questions we have. A few folks, this is just Amanda Joe sending me these folks. A few folks are asking why Fagradalsfjall is seeing uplift. So if we are seeing some level of uplift here, I think the easiest explanation for that would be that the April 1st intrusion lengthened here's the old November one, right? That's the original dike. And the April 1st one lengthened it. And because this dike now filled with magma is closer to, this main Fagradalsfjeld area, that could be, and as magma moves into this zone, that could be causing some uplift in ground deformation movement here at Fagradalsfjeld. That would be my best guess. So if we are seeing, I haven't looked at the data in this area, but if there are some, numbers at these stations since April 1st that show that there's ground deformation going on here, I think it could be most likely related to what we see. Okay, so those are some questions that were kind of sent to me on the front end of things. Let me check my, okay, thank you, Amanda Joe. I have a question sheet number 2. Okay, from Wolfgang Greb, are there adjusted assumptions about an intrusion or an eruption due to the changed subsurface structure? Any news from Bruce Gardner on this? I did hear from Bruce, who looks like he was having a lovely time in the Alps and living his best life, who did tell me that he would circle back and start analyzing more of the Iceland data, but I haven't heard anything from it. But the first part of your question, are there adjusted assumptions about an intrusion eruption? Yeah, the subsurface totally changed. I would be very wary of any definitive predictions, interpretations. I would take those with a grain of salt because we really don't know how lengthy and interconnected and spacious or confined, maybe that's the better word, this new sort of subsurface magma storage system is. We don't know. We don't know how far it really goes down to the southwest. We've modeled kind of where we think it goes to the northeast, but we don't know, is it connecting to things laterally? This is the main magma body. We don't know exactly how wide it is. And like I said, and interconnected it is to other structures. And so, yeah, I haven't seen anything, and I would be very cautious about really holding to any sort of prediction. If someone tells you it's going to erupt on October 3rd or the week of October 6th or whatever, there's just no way to know right now until we get closer. Once we get a little bit closer to the system being full, we should see GPS continue to rise. At some point, we should see it kind of flatlining. We should see an increase in seismic activity, and that can really ramp up quickly in the days, hours, or minutes preceding the next eruptive event. Grandma plays, why does some of the lava look lighter gray rather than black, darker gray? Is it texture, composition, or a combination of these? Some of it has to do with the initial flow of lava when it comes out. You might be able to see that a little bit with different, kind of see it. I mean, oh, yeah, like you can see a little bit of a difference there versus over here, right? So could be how much of the degassing it's underwent, which has precipitated out some of these light colored minerals that might give it a little bit lighter hue overall. It'll also depend on what kind of lava flow it was when it was erupted. Was it a jagged, blocky, but highly porous and permeable lava flow? Those tend to oxidize quicker and weather quicker than the pahoehoe, like the single sheet flows that might have a few cracks in them, but are much more cohesive. So those are some of the main players. It depends on how well oxygen can circulate through the lava flow. If it's a place where there's a lot of degassing going on, those are going to affect the color quite a bit. Skagit Ed, thanks for your contribution. I see your question here, but I think I addressed it earlier. Will we see an eruption before year's end? I'm not going to make any sort of hard prediction, but it seems to me like it's based on the trend of the data that something before the end of the year seems more likely than after. And nothing hard there. Less Gold on the USGS site for earthquakes. Why don't they have moment sensor beach balls for all the larger quakes? Well, they should have it for the big quakes. And so if we go to the USGS earthquake site, often, they should have it for most of the bigger quakes. So you can come up here to the little thing. We could add like all the earthquakes for the last week. You're always going to get more quakes in the US on this map because this is using our seismic network here in the States. And so it's picking up the smaller quakes in this region because it has more seismometers here. It's detecting these farther away quakes but it can only detect generally over like a 4 or so. Like here's 4.6, 4.5, 4.5. So you're generally not going to see anything below about a 4 outside the U.S. But nonetheless, your question was, why don't they have moment tensor solutions? Well, they should. Here's a 6.7. There's a beach ball. Again, I'm just randomly picking a few here. I bet we'll find some. Generally, if they're smaller, though, so here's one without a beach ball, right? So 4.6 is kind of small. I think from what I understand, I think you need to have enough seismic data, which might necessitate it's large enough to produce a moment tensor, a focal mechanism solution beach ball. So you're right, they don't show them for every quake, but certainly if it's a bigger quake, if it's like a 5.5 or 6, this one's not there, it's 5, kind of smaller. I'd like to think if we go to the bigger ones, like significant quakes, there's probably going to be, I guess we did that one too, one in a kind of remote area, 6.6, and there's a beach ball, classic strikes that fall there. Yeah, so that would be my best guess there. Good question. So I think probably, I don't know what the number would be, but I'd say like 5.5 and above, it should have a beach ball. If it's below that, there's a chance it doesn't there. So, and I think that's just with, you know, the distance and getting enough seismic data that they can put those moments together. Joanne Kellum, how are you? For any lava flows that don't subsequently get inundated again, how long will it take for moss or other vegetation to start growing again in Iceland? Years, decades, or longer? So I did look into it a little bit just after Isak sent me that video about moss and the green material. I was trying to educate myself quickly and make myself a hack botanist for biologist for a few minutes. Generally takes a couple years, typically, but I think maybe we're seeing enhanced growth because the conditions are just right. You got high humidity, right temperatures, good air circulation, and maybe if you just get all those things coming into alignment, you can get some of those pioneering species, those early biological species growing on the surface of those rocks quicker than otherwise. So that's maybe how I would address that. So yeah, where did that question? Here we go. Yeah, so a couple years is sort of like the standard line there. Not decades though, and it depends on where you're at. In Iceland is what you asked specifically. Obviously, if you're where I live here in southern Idaho, it takes way longer. We're in a dry climate. There's not a lot of moisture, so it really takes a much longer period of time for those pioneering species to kind of reestablish themselves. Good stuff. Okay, team. How are we doing? Is there any more last minute questions? I got through 2 sheets of questions. We did a drone flight. We did what else? We did an update. Fun little announcements. Good stuff. So just looking at the live chat, I'll see if I can out any questions that kind of came in late. Oh, Elaine Jones. Yeah, the trip in southwestern Utah, November, December. I did mention I was trying to do that. I'm not 100% sure it's going to happen now. So it's I'd still like to, but there's a few things in flux with just kids and vacations and just life that I'm not sure. I will at some point. So if it's not this fall, I will at some point. I know you were planning on maybe going to that. So I'll have that figured out. Let's say by end of August or so. That would give still people a couple months. So I'll try to get that. And then I see Joanne's question. So I think I caught up to all the questions. Vivid Magic question, can you please be less interesting for a little while? I really need to pee. Oh boy. Well, wife would be impressed that someone thinks that. Never been too interesting. Good stuff. So I hope everyone enjoyed our live stream. Make sure to like it. Again, those social media channels are out there if you want to see some of those fun little things. What's coming up in the near term? We're going on a little rafting trip this weekend, but I've got a couple videos coming your way, including a kind of a fun, silly one. And then next week I'm around. I'm doing a couple interviews next week with two geologists. I'm excited for that. And so that will be good. And then I leave for the Grand Canyon at the very end of the month, and that'll be about a week there. And then we're kind of into August, and I'll need to be back at the college and stuff. So then I should be a little bit more of a permanent fixture, not taking off for weeks at a time like I was previously. So, but lots of fun things to do. I've got a long list of things. I still have some more Europe videos to send out, a few random road cuts. One from our Via Ferrata. What else do I have? Just all sorts of fun little things kind of coming down the pipe. So, alrighty. Well, I thank all of you for joining me on this live stream, especially Amanda, Joe, and Susan for being our moderators. You guys are the MVPs. You do great work, and I appreciate you so much. So thank you very much. Thank you all for joining me on this live stream. I love our little community and the ways we learn and grow together. I love your questions and the way they make me challenge me to think and sometimes give me new perspectives about how things work, or just challenging me in general intellectually. That's really a huge part of why I do this. So thank you all for being part of our live stream. I hope you're well. I hope you're having a great day, evening, afternoon, time, wherever you are. And we'll see you on another one. We'll probably do another one of these sometime next month, sometime in August. Yeah, I think that feels right. Sometime in August, I can share some of the Grand Canyon pictures with folks, see what's kind of going on in the world at that point, and we'll be back. So thanks again for your time. I appreciate your support. You guys are great. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Take care.